we on camera?
Yeah, that's delayed.
Well, welcome in to the Cavemen Media live sports show number 1. Big show for you guys today. We've got game picks. We've got Drew Layton calling in live from Paul Brown Stadium. And we've got Drew Garrison from Locker Room Talk Uncut calling in to talk Bengals and Browns. I've already talked to him this morning. He wants to talk Zach Taylor.
Yep. I would also like to talk a little Zach Taylor.
We're going to do it. We've got 12 games on the slate today. Let's get started. Connor's here. Matt is here, decked out in his Steelers gear.
Of course.
Unfortunate for that. Matt's posing our first question today, and that is, what team is in a must-win matchup today?
So since it was my question, I'll start. I'm going to go with the Bills. They've lost the last 2 to the Titans and the Chiefs. The Jets should be an easy opponent, but if they lose, then they have the Pats, Seahawks, Cardinals. I mean, they got to have a win today because the next 3 games are going to be tough.
So my team that is in a must-win matchup today is the Detroit Lions. The Lions coming in 2-3 on the road at the Atlanta Falcons. The Lions, if they fall to 2-4, I think they fall out of it in the NFC. If they can win, they get to 3-3, and they've got a little bit easier of a schedule coming up. They have Atlanta today, the Colts, Minnesota football team, and the Panthers. I think they could make a run there, get above 500, and see what happens with Matthew Stafford. Connor, who's your must-win matchup of the day?
I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys, coming off an embarrassing loss on Monday Night Football against the Cardinals. The Red Rifles got to get out there. They got to put something together. They got to get a win today against the Washington football team.
And I think they do. We'll talk more Cowboys in a little bit. Question number 2 on today's show. Game of the week. Kind of gave it away there. Game of the week, Matt. Who's your game of the week?
Definitely Steelers-Titans.
I agree 100%. Steelers-Titans, both 5-0. I wish they would have flexed this game to a 4 o'clock. 4 o'clock, 8 o'clock.
When they flexed the Sunday night game, I thought for sure they were
I
going
would
to
like
move
to
it.
see that game at 4 o'clock.
Do you agree? Is that your game of the week, Connor?
No, my game of the week is Seattle against the Cardinals
Okay.
Sunday night. I think that'll be a great matchup.
And that was the game that was flexed from 4 o'clock to Sunday night football. So let's get into some game picks. Let's start with, I would say this is me and Connor's game of the week. Browns, Bengals, kicking off at 1 o'clock. Browns come in 4-2. Bengals coming in 1-4-1. Connor, how are you feeling today about your Cincinnati Bengals?
I never feel great about Cincinnati Bengals, but I feel a little bit better today. Baker shook up. You guys got a few injuries here and there. We don't have Joe Mixon, but I still feel that we can play competitive. We've been in there with pretty much every game. You can argue the Ravens game, but we held Lamar to 20 points. That's the one in my book. The Browns and Bengals always play each other close sometimes. And I think today will be a good game.
All right, here's my Browns-Bengals stand. Browns coming in 4-2. Baker Mayfield is 4-1 against the Bengals in his career. He's 9-2 when he does not throw an interception. Now, you're going to laugh at that. He throws a lot of interceptions. That's fine.
Okay.
Here's what my point is. 9-2 with no picks. Today, your starting corner, William Jackson, out. He's the one that picked off Baker last game in week 2. So I think Baker, they're going to run the ball. They're going to play a little conservative. They're not going to take too many shots with Baker. He's hurt. I honestly think he shouldn't even start. I think Case Keenum should be the starter today because I do not believe Baker Mayfield is healthy. However, I think he does not throw a pick. He extends that streak to 10-2. And like you said, Joe Mixon is out. I think that's huge for your guys' offense. He's key to your offense. He's been getting more and more carries each week.
You guys not having Chubb, though, is huge because you can't run Kareem Hunt every single
Exactly.
play.
I agree, 100%. And speaking of our run game, we're also missing starting right guard Wyatt Teller, his second game out. So that's another key loss. And another blocker in our run offense is Austin Hooper, starting tight end. He is out with appendicitis.
Nice.
So, I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It is what it is. Browns, 4-0 when leading at the half. I think they get an early Jarvis Landry touchdown. He does not have any touchdowns yet on the season. We get out to an early lead. It's hunting season. Kareem Hunt going to have a big day. Browns win 30-20 over the Bengals.
30-20. I'm going to go Bengals win 31-27.
I'm going to go Browns. I think the Bengals would be lucky if they score 10.
But don't get me wrong. The Bengals they've looked better. They've shown improvement. Joe Burrow has not thrown in the 200-yard range a single time this season. He's either been under 200 or over 300. I think today he's in that 250-yard range. He's been sacked 24 times, hit 57 times on the year. That offensive line is going to get him killed.
He's going to go for 275, 2 touchdowns, maybe a pick, and a couple sacks.
Myles Garrett all over today. Browns win, like I said, 30-20. Let's move on. Game number 2. It was me and Matt's game of the week. Steelers-Titans, both teams 5-0. Matthew, how are you feeling today?
So, a little nervous, but I think Pitt's going to pull it off. I think it's going to be a 2 to 3 point game, and it's going to come down to one of the last drives of the game.
I think it's going to be close. Pittsburgh is averaging 31 points per game on offense and only giving up 18 points per game on defense. At that same time, Tennessee is scored 32 points per game. It's going to be a close game. I think it's going to come down to the end. Can the Pittsburgh defense continue to dominate against Derrick Henry?
Yes.
That's going to be the matchup to watch. I got Steelers winning 28-24 over the Titans, staying undefeated 6-0. Connor?
I'm going to go with the Titans. I literally prayed for the Steelers to lose today because I'm tired of listening to Matt and the other Steelers fans on Twitter. I think it's going to be a physical game. I think Derrick Henry has another monster game. And I'm going to go Titans 24-17.
Low scoring. I don't know about that one, Connor. Game number 3 on the slate for us today. Panthers 3-3 at the Saints, 3-2. Saints coming off of a bye. No Michael Thomas, no Emmanuel Sanders for the Saints offense today. How do we feel about that?
I have Panthers winning this. I just think the Saints are just too beat up. They don't look good this year. I have Panthers winning.
Connor?
I'm going to have to go with the Saints. I know they haven't looked great, but I don't think the Panthers have looked that great either. They've had a few good games, but I'm going to go Saints.
I agree with Connor. I don't know which Panthers team is going to show up. They're 3-3. I think Alvin Kamara for the Saints has a huge day. He's got 676 total yards on the year. I got the Saints 27-20 over Teddy Two Gloves and the Panthers. Game number 4, Bills 4-2 at Jets 0-6.
Well, my must win.
I think we
It's
can
an easy
sweep
one.
that
It's
one
an easy
here.
Bills.
Jared Allen and the Bills. Jared Allen, 16 touchdowns, 4 picks on the year. Stephon Diggs, 555 yards on the year.
John.
I think they destroy them. Agreed?
What did you say?
Yeah, Josh Allen.
What did you
Josh
say,
Jared Allen. Excuse me. Bills win big 37-10 over the
37-10.
Jets.
I could see that.
All right, game number 5. Connor talked about this. It's his must-win matchup of the day. The Cowboys 2-4 at the football team in Washington 1-5. Dallas coming in -1. Favored in this one on the road. Andy Dalton.
Andy Dalton.
How do we
baby.
feel about
Hey,
the Red
I
Rifle?
was feeling good. I even picked him up in fantasy last week because I had no other option. And he let me down
let
big
you
time.
down big time,
Big
yeah.
time, yeah.
So Dallas, it's a must-win for them. If they win, they'll get to 3-4. They'll be back in first place in the NFC East.
It was weird how much of a familiar feeling it was that Andy Dalton let me down on.
Prime time,
On a
too.
prime time game, yeah.
Zeke has fumbled 5 times on the year. He's
Yeah.
got to get better at that.
Twice
I don't
in
know
that
what's
game,
going
that
on there. I don't
was-
know if it's a nose ring, if it's the stomach tattoo, but he's got hold onto the football. 5 fumbles on the year. I think they get it done today. Cowboys 24-23.
Nail biter.
I agree. I don't think Zeke has had a 100-yard rushing game this year. I do think he gets it this week against Washington. Both their defenses are just terrible, but I think Cowboys end up winning by 3 at least.
I think
I'd
it's
say
going to be a close game.
34-28, somewhere around there.
It's going to be close. Game number 6 on the day. Connor, Packers 4-1 at Texans. Struggling Texans 1-5. Head coach Romeo Crennel makes a terrible decision last week to go for 2. You kick the extra point. You go up by 8. You make the Titans have to get the 2-point conversion.
Yep.
Instead, you go for 2. You don't get it. Derrick Henry runs it to the house. Game over. They lose in overtime. So,
Bozo call right there.
but at the same time, Packers coming off a tough loss in Tampa. Bounce back game, in my opinion, for the
They're out for
Packers.
revengeance today.
Yep. Aaron Jones comes in banged up, but I believe he will play. I think it's going to be a huge day for Aaron Rodgers. Packers 31-23, Matt.
So I believe Aaron Jones is out.
He is out.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think
no.
I just heard that.
Oh,
Oh, no.
but I think Green Bay still runs away
I
with
think
it.
Green Bay still will win. I think the Texans put up a fight, but they fall to 1-6 on the year. Connor?
Yeah, I got the Packers as well.
All right. Lions 2-3 at the Falcons. We touched on it a little bit. Lions, this is a must-win for them if they want to stay in it. Matt Patricia, I think he's coaching for his life right now. I'm not saying he's going to get fired tomorrow if they lose, but you can't fall to 2-4 in that NFC. DeAndre Swift has really come along. I think he's going to have a big game. I got the Lions 33-30 over the Atlanta Falcons in Atlanta. Matt, what do you got?
I agree with you on the sense that I think it's going to be a shootout also. I just think Matt Stafford is going to get it done, and I got Lions winning too.
All right. Connor?
I'm gonna go with the Falcons on this game. They played well last week, and they can roll when they get rolling. Julio Jones, Matt Ryan
Fired their head coach.
I think it'll be a shootout, like you guys said. And it'll be a fun.
It's going to come down to who gets the ball last, I think.
Yeah.
Game-winning field goal, I'm feeling, there in Atlanta. Next game on the board, Chiefs 5-1 at Broncos 2-3. Can Drew Lock shock the world and beat the Chiefs?
No.
Spoiler, he will not.
He will not. Drew Lock came out and said this is the first time in his career he's faced the same team twice. So he feels a little comfort with that. I think they keep it close. 27-21. Chiefs. Chiefs are favored by 8.5 was the last line that I saw. I don't know about that. It's cold. There's snow in Denver. I got a close one, 27-21 Chiefs.
I think the Chiefs win by at least 10.
Really?
Yeah, I think they're just gonna whoop the hell out of the Broncos.
Matthew?
So I think I locked my ESPN app was Chiefs by 9.5, and I do not have them covering. I think it's going to be a 3 or 4 point game, but at the end of the day, I have Chiefs winning.
Yep. We'll see. Is Lev Bell going to play today? Is he going to be a factor?
He is going to be in, but I don't see him being much of a factor. I would say maybe around 60 yards.
It's going to be a wait-and-see game for Lev Bell. So, game number 9 on the slate, Jacksonville Jaguars 1-5 at the Los Angeles Chargers 1-4. Rookie quarterback Herbert looks damn good.
Oh, Herbie. I like Herbie.
He looks good. I think he's giving Joe Burrow a run for his money when it comes to rookie of the year.
He also has more of a build-out offensive line.
I don't disagree. Herbert, 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions on the year. I got the Chargers 27-17 over Gardner Minshew and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Matt?
So Minshew started out hot. That first game they played, I mean, that Minshew Mania, I think is what they call it.
Oh, yeah,
Minshew
Minshew Mania.
in full effect, but they haven't won a game since. I think that continues this week. I have LA over.
They are 0-5 in their last 5, Connor.
I think Minshew Mania is a joke. I think that Minshew is a worse Baker Mayfield, and I think that the Chargers beat the heck out of them today.
I agree. Next game, Tampa Bay Buccaneers traveling to Las Vegas. The Raiders come in 3-2, Bucs 4-2. Tampa Bay favored 4.5 on this one. How do we feel about the Buccaneers?
This is a tough game because we saw the Raiders beat the Chiefs. What?
Raiders coming off a bye. They got a little bit of COVID in the locker room. They do. They didn't know if this game was going to get off or not. It looks like it will. They moved this game from Sunday night to 4 o'clock just in case they did have to postpone it. So, who you got, Connor?
Like I said, this is a tough one. After that Bucs game last week, though, when they beat the Green Bay?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. They looked like a complete team. That defense looked amazing. I'm going to have to go with the Buccaneers.
Austin Parrott says Raiders have no all-line because they got COVID. He says Bucs all day. I agree. I think the Raiders, they got some good wins. Don't get me wrong, but I think the Bucs win 30-24, high-scoring game. Ronald Jones has had a hell of a season so far, 472 yards on the year. But we skipped something. Antonio Brown signed by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He can't play yet.
I forgot about that.
He can't play yet. But how do we feel about that?
Interesting. I can't see it changing their team that much.
I don't think it makes them any worse or better. If anything, for me, it worries me because it's too many mouths to feed. You have Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, and Chris Godwin, and Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah.
I just don't see it.
But how do you cover all
How do you cover all three? I agree,
Sure,
100%.
sure.
I agree.
It's going
to be interesting when he does get in there. It's still going to be a few weeks till he's really a factor, but something to watch for sure.
So I've been high on the Raiders all year. I think they're a decent team. However, I think Tom Brady and the Bucks pull this one off.
I agree. Next game on the board, 49ers travel East Coast. They come in 3-3. They're playing the New England Patriots. Patriots come in 2-3, favored by 3. Jimmy Garoppolo back in Foxborough. Who do you got, Connor?
This is another tough one because the Patriots, they had looked good, and then they lost Cam. Haven't looked too great since. The Niners hadn't looked good, and then that game last week they looked pretty damn good. I'm going to roll with the Niners. I think they get it done in Foxborough.
Really? Matt?
So I have said Niners suck all season. Last week changed my whole opinion on them. Cam Newton and the Patriots, they've been inconsistent, so I'm going to have Niners winning this one also.
I disagree. Interesting stat, though. Cam has come in with 2 touchdowns, 4 interceptions on the year. He's been good, but he's not been great. I think Bill Belichick finds a way to win this one, though. 23-20, Patriots.
That'll be a good game.
I think it's going to be a good one. That's the 4 o'clock game. That'll be on the big screen here. And last game of the day, Sunday Night Football. Got flexed, like we said earlier. Seattle Seahawks 5-0. Cardinals coming in. They look good.
They looked amazing last week.
They look good. They destroyed the Cowboys last week. Seattle's favored 3.5. Russ, Kyler. It's going to be a good game. I think Russell Wilson is the MVP of the league. No question about it. 19 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I've got Seattle winning a shootout 34-27. Connor, what do you got?
I agree with you with the score and with the outcome. I think it'll be a shootout. I think it'll be a close game, but I'm going to have to go with the better team, and that's Seattle.
Yep.
So I agree with Russell Wilson being the MVP. I thought he had a close running mate in Josh Allen, but he's fallen off the wagon. Cardinals, I just don't think they get it done. I think Seahawks blow them out.
I agree.
Blow them out?
Yeah.
So.
All right, we'll see. That is our game picks. We're going to take a quick break here, and when we return, we will be on the phone with Drew Garrison from Locker Room Talk Uncut. He's going to talk Bengals, Browns. He does not like Zach Taylor, so we're going to talk about that. We'll be back. All right, welcoming on to the show, Drew Garrison from Locker Room Talk Uncut. He's a diehard Bengals fan, and I messaged with him earlier today, and he wants to talk Zach Taylor. So, Drew, welcome to the show. I'm going to let you just go to the mic here and vent a little bit on your head coach, Zach Taylor.
I'm going to try to keep it family-friendly for you guys, but he is hands down the worst head coach in the NFL. I thought Freddie Kitchens was bad last year. I called him Freddie Bathrooms. We got Carlos Dunlap on Instagram again yesterday, fourth on the depth chart now, 11-year vet. I know he hasn't played very good, but it seems like the communication's bad. And I actually said that on our last episode, our last episode that we released. Taylor got hired, and in his introductory press conference, he used the word communication over and over and over again. This thing's going to be built on trust and communication, and it sounds like there's been bad communication with Carlos Dunlap, AJ Green, Geno Atkins, and a few other guys. So the communication's not there. He's bad. I mean, he's so bad that I spent valuable time making a fake UFC flyer of me about to fight him, and that's probably a me problem. Maybe I got some mental issues there, but I have zero faith in this guy. I don't have a lot of faith in Baker Mayfield. I think Baker Mayfield is Andy Dalton.
Easy.
I like that
Fact.
comparison.
Let's talk about the
I
Carlos
think that-
Dunlap situation. Before you go in on Baker, let's stick with the Bengals for a second. The Carlos Dunlap situation. Do you feel like that's a Carlos Dunlap thing, or is that a team locker room thing that you think could affect the team as a whole?
Well, it sounds like there's players, I guess, that are. I read a story that said that certain players are leaking the narrative that Zach Taylor's losing the locker room because they're upset by how he's handling it.
Right.
I think Geno Atkins is pissed. I think Carlos Dunlap's pissed. And then I saw another article where some other players said that that's not the case. The locker room's still intact. I personally think that they're trying to keep it quiet, but I think he's got to be losing it. He's been selling this vision and all this. He's a great salesman. He talks very well. He just doesn't call plays or do roster.
He doesn't run a football team very
half
well.
as good as he talks. Yeah, so I mean it's kind of shocking, after a failed stint as offensive coordinator in Miami, down there with the Dolphins, and then one failed year as an offensive coordinator at the University of Cincinnati, and then a couple years of handing Sean McVay footballs or whatever got him a job. It's just can't believe it hasn't worked out.
I think it's going to go one of two ways. The locker room's going to rally together, and they're going to play well today, or it's going to go the complete opposite way, and they're not going to show up, and it's just going to be a shit show from the start for the Bengals. So how do you feel about the game today, then?
I hope that they quit on him. And I hate that because I never want to root for my team to lose. I mean, I did last year because I knew we were going to get Joe Burrow. But I just feel like the team's got to quit because the Bengals have a pretty questionable front office, let's call it that. But if you lose an entire locker room and it's clear that your team has quit on you, even the most oblivious of front offices would know that and have to make a move. I look at one of Taylor's wins last year, that final game of the year against the Browns. They came out and they laid down on Freddie Kitchens. They were done with him.
Exactly.
And that sent the message, and I think he got fired that same night, if not the next morning.
I would say about 2.5 hours later, he was gone.
Yeah, right about the time they pulled back into Berea.
Yep.
So that's what I think. I think that it's obviously weighing on people, and it's an organizational failure also because last year I think they could have got a first out of A.J. Green. I think New Orleans or Green Bay would have done it. They could have got maybe a second, a third out of Geno Atkins last year. They could have maybe got something for Carlos Dunlap. Now they have no leverage on the trade market. And when they do enter the trade market, I hear that they value their players way too much, and nobody's interested anyway because the asking price is too high.
So we've got a comment here from Jake Whiting on the Facebook feed here. He says if they get blown out, Zach Taylor will be out the door. Do you feel like they would fire him if they just absolutely got blown out in something like a 35-10 game today?
I think there's a lot of. I think a lot of that has to do with his contract. I haven't really been able to find Taylor's contract details, but I know that Mike Brown would eat his own child before he ate a dollar of a contract.
I agree, and I think that's the problem. I don't see them firing a coach mid-season.
See, I think he got a 4-year deal, but I don't know if there's any options tied into that. Because I know, like, when Marvin Lewis came back on that 2-year deal and I was on the brink of suicide, come to find out it was a 2-year deal, but it was a 2nd-year option. So I think a lot of it depends on the contract. I had said on one of our episodes here a few weeks ago, I get not firing Taylor this year because who do you have on the staff that's going to do any better? But now I just think it needs to be anybody. I think it needs to be a new voice.
All right, so before I ask you your game pick, who do you want to be the coach of the Bengals next year? If you could have your pick of an offensive coordinator out there, a college head coach, who do you want to see heading the Bengals next year?
There's 2 guys that run a Bengals podcast named Ace Boogie and Zim Houday, and they are calling for Jim Harbaugh, and I'm a Michigan fan, so that's a nightmare.
Wow.
Yikes.
No, thank you.
Yeah. I like Eric Bieniemy from the Chiefs, but he gives me kind of Zach Taylor vibes. He works under a really smart offensive guy. He doesn't really call the plays, though. I would like Josh McDaniels.
I just don't know if McDaniels is going to ever leave New England.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like he got hired by the Colts for like a minute. The one advantage that the Bengals have that they haven't had in a long time is they have young talent. They've got T. Higgins, they've got Joe Burrow, they've got 2 linebackers, Akeem Davis-Gaither and Logan Wilson, who look like they're going to be solid. And obviously the quarterback is going to attract a coach. So they have the ability, I think, for the first time in a while, to attract a coach that maybe has something on his resume.
Right.
not, the wide receivers coach from the Rams. So I think that may attract somebody because you've got pieces there. But at the same time, it depends on how much control the Brown family is willing to give up because good head coaches, established head coaches want to come in and have a certain amount of control.
All right, Drew, no Joe Mixon today. How do the Bengals get a win today? And if they can't win, what's your game prediction today?
No Joe Mixon, no William Jackson, pissed off Carlos Dunlap. I think it's going to be the last game was a pretty close one. I'm going Cleveland 34, Cincinnati 27.
I like it. We'll see what happens. Hey, man, we appreciate you calling into the show.
Hey, not a problem, boys. Have a good one.
All right, man. You too.
See ya.
So I have something to add to the Bengals coaching. If you listen to our podcast, remember we had the scout on.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see Bill Belichick going?
What about Bill Belichick?
Going to Cincinnati?
Going to Cincinnati.
He did say that.
It just depends how much longer does Bill Belichick want to coach.
I think Bill Belichick will coach until he's in a wheelchair.
Because if that's the case,
cannot
if that is the case, I think I could see him going and leaving New England to go to Cincinnati because it's an attractive position. It's an attractive job. Where you got a good core. You've got the quarterback. I could see him doing it. But if he is going to retire within the next 2 or 3 years, I don't think he leaves New England. He passes it off to Josh McDaniels. Josh McDaniels is the head coach.
In my eyes, I see him staying in New England until he retires. He's been there for however long. He's built his crew. He's got the guys he's liked. And, yeah.
All right. So next thing we're going to do, we're going to take another quick break here. We're going to call Drew Layton, our guy. He is live at Paul Brown Stadium right now ahead of the Browns and Bengals matchup. So when we return, he'll be on the phone from the stadium. We'll be back. Here we go.
Live from the club.
All right. Welcome back into the show. Joining us now is our man, Drew Layton, at HooDayDrew on Twitter. He is live at Paul Brown Stadium ahead of Browns and Bengals, kicking off here shortly in about 30 minutes. Drew, what's the vibe in Cincinnati right now at the stadium?
There's victory in the air, brother. That's the only thing I can tell you.
Is that right? On the Cleveland side, I'm assuming.
No. The victory in the air, we got dozens of fans out here.
Literally 12,000 fans at the
There's
stadium
dozens
today.
of people everywhere.
How's the
Joe
beer
Burrow's
flowing?
down there slinging dimes on the field as we speak.
How's the beer flowing early here?
Oh, great. I just got me a cold one, working my way to my seat. Good thing was going to get a dub today, boys.
How you feeling about the game today? Joe Burrow, no Joe Mixon.
The Joe Mixon's other than William Jackson, Joe Mixon hurts. So I think Giovanni Bernard has a big day.
I don't see it. I think you guys are going to throw the ball. Joe Burrow has the most passing attempts in all of the NFL. I think that continues today. I think Myles Garrett gets after the quarterback. And I don't know if you heard it earlier, but Browns win 30-20 in my eyes.
You saw mine. I'm saying 24-21 Cleveland and hoping for a Bengals upset.
Is it wet down there?
I think it's what?
Is it getting wet down there, or is it dry?
It's fairly dry. It's nothing that I would say would affect the passing game.
All right, good. Joe Burrow's going to throw the ball today, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah, your weak linebacking core. Joe Burrow's the number 1 rated quarterback from 10 to 19 yards. He's just going to tear you up.
All right, we'll see about that, buddy. All right.
But other than that, very weird, masks everywhere, socially distant football.
I bet the traffic's nice, though.
Yes, very.
All right, man. Enjoy the game. Drink some beers. Go Browns.
Who da?
All right, that was Drew live at the stadium. We've got one thing left to do here on the show, and that is to give away $100 to you. We had a bunch of entries. I'm going to pull up a random number generator, and everybody's numbered here on my sheet here. These are all the participants. I've got a number generator right here. I'm going to hit the button, and whoever's number gets called wins $100. Connor, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Matt, are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready.
You guys want to push the button?
Yeah.
Push randomize
Go
right
ahead.
there. Hit the button. Lucky number 7. Who's it going to be? Lucky number
Wow.
7. You got to be kidding me. It's Michael Merker.
Michael
Merker just won $100. Congratulations, Mike. We'll hit you up on Cash App or Venmo. We appreciate you guys watching today's show. Make sure you follow us at Cavemen Media. Follow me at Sports.Ohio, at Real Connor Gray, at Matt the Popo. Enjoy the game.
Hooray!
Go Browns.
Go Steelers.
We appreciate you guys. Have a good Sunday.